Hello, Space Watchers, and welcome back to Colorado. We are here to follow the Space Symposium, but today we took a day off before the starting of the conference to come to visit Orbit Fab. And I'm here with Adam Harris, the Chief Commercial Officer at Orbit Fab. Adam, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Welcome to Orbit Fab here in Lafayette, Colorado.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. It's a beautiful day. You can see behind us the backdrop of the stunning Rocky Mountains. So Adam, can you tell us something about Orbit Fab, when it was funded, and what's the vision behind it?
Absolutely. So Orbit Fab, our tagline is gas stations in space. And what our vision is to have spacecraft be refuelable. And so they aren't just they aren't purposely put in orbit as junk. They are reused. They're able to be refueled and continue on their mission. Orbit Fab was founded in 2018. We moved here to Colorado about 3 years ago to this facility. It's a beautiful facility, and we've really enjoyed having the space economy around us. There are a number of companies here in Colorado. Next week we're going to the Space Symposium and seeing a lot of those companies in person. And so welcome here to Lafayette.
Thank you very much. So can you tell us what's the vision behind Orbit Fab? What inspired you to come here and to start working with them?
So Orbit Fab, when we started the company, the fab in Orbit Fab was fabrication, and we were thinking not fabulous, that would be another good one, but fabrication, there's a lot of opportunity in space to build things and to create new businesses. And so we started the company thinking about those types of business models. We shifted really quickly in the first 3 months of the company when we heard from customers that all they needed to do was have another kilogram of fuel. We asked the follow-on question of, what would that do for you? What would that change? And the answer astounded us. They said, essentially, over and over in multiple meetings, they said a kilogram of fuel would be worth $1 million to our revenue because communication or Earth observation or some of the satellite servicing companies that do debris removal, for instance, their missions wouldn't be enabled if they run out of fuel. So, so we started on this journey in 2018 with Orbit Fab. We've built the interfaces that do refueling. So our RAFTI refueling interface was recently qualified. And then we want to work on the delivery of fuel to those spacecraft in orbit.
So let me ask you, you guys obviously deal with a very interesting problem somehow, even if indirectly, the issue of debris, debris production.
Yes.
So what's Orbit Fab position when it comes to debris production, debris limitation, recycling, reusing, trying to limit a problem that we know it's a real threat to the use of the orbits?
Absolutely. It's not only a real threat of today, but it's growing. So there are more and more objects being put in space. That seems to be continuing. There's more launches every year. There's more objects being put in space. So as a community in the space industry, we really need to think about how to not leave junk in orbit. And there's a number of ways you can do that. For Orbit Fab specifically, a spacecraft that's going to run out of fuel ends up becoming an automatic piece of junk. And we want to change the idea in the space industry that if you have refueling enabled, you can continue your mission and you can dispose of your spacecraft. We are also working with some of the companies that do debris removal themselves. And so those capabilities, the analogy on Earth is if your car breaks down on the side of the road, it may have been that you ran out of fuel and we want to solve that problem, but it might also mean that you need the tow truck to come grab you. And so we work with other companies that provide those services. They grab those pieces of debris. We want to refuel their assets so that they can do that multiple times.
So gas and more.
Gas and more. So for Orbit Fab, it starts with gas and propellants for spacecraft.
So what we obviously will see you next week in Colorado Springs, but what's the next step? What do you have something coming soon?
Yes, so we just recently announced our qualification of the RAFTI refueling interface. Our next step is working on the active side. We call that GRIP, but our fuel shuttles to deliver fuel, we're working with a number of companies, but that active side of delivering the fuel to a spacecraft customer is coming up next, and we have some launches in 2025 to demonstrate that capability and put that on orbit. Our engineers at this facility right now are working on those mechanisms and those pieces of testing that space hardware to get it to orbit.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking for good luck, of course, for the testing phase for 2025, and I'm looking forward to see you and meet Orbit Fab. And of course, if you're around Colorado Springs next week, come to check them out and come to say hi. Thank you very much. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you so much.